My name is Katie Spangler, and I am so excited to welcome you all to the 85th anniversary celebration of 4-H House. Like I said, my name is Katie Spangler, and I'm a recent graduate of the University of Illinois and was a member of the pledge class of 2018.
And I'm Patty Thaxton, class of 79, and I would now invite all of you to stand as we escort our house mother, Naomi Crow, to her seat. And she's being escorted today by Anne Hathaway, who's our alum board president. Now stay on your feet and turn to page 2 in your hymnal, where you will find the words for Take the Golden, which, by the way, was written by Bev Frazee Buzzard, and the words, and she collaborated on the music with Martha Herman. They're both here, class of 63. There they are. That's a bit of trivia for you that I just learned, so I was thrilled. They were looking for something unique, and so they wrote it themselves. True 4-H House grit. So we're going to sing Take the Golden and follow that with the Johnny Appleseed Prayer. We have our wonderful group of song leaders with us. They'll get us started. Everyone join in.
Take the golden of the wheat field, the land of ripening grain. Take the emerald of the meadow, the clover refreshed with rain. And the luster of the white pearl, and the lamp of knowledge too. Behold the beauty of our 4-H pin, emblem of sisterhood, sisterhood, ever so true. Oh, the Lord is good to me, and so I thank the Lord for giving me the things I need, the sun and the rain and the apple's teeth. The Lord is good to me. Amen, 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 amen.
You may be seated.
Hello, everyone. We are going to go ahead and get started with announcing the winners of the silent auction. So, as I said, I am a member of the 2018 pledge class, and before I announce the rest of the members of my class that are here today, as well as the member of the pledge class of 2019 and current house girls, I would like to introduce to you one of our newest house girls, one of our newest sisters that will be joining us in the fall. I'll have her stand and be recognized. Her name is Ashley Davis. Thank you, Ashley. We are so excited for you to join us and hope that you have a really great afternoon getting to know some of your fellow sisters. So I'm going to announce the pledge class of 2018, 19, and current house girls. And if I could have them stand when they're recognized and come up to the front, they're going to help us in dispersing the silent auction items. So, pledge class of 2018, Olivia Wilson, Renee Tillman, Krista Wiebengay, and Sarah Jones. Our pledge class of 2019, Miss Danielle Brinkman. And current house girls, Kayla Adams and Kelly Gill. Seeing as though these are some of our recent alums or current girls, as well as the newest member of our sisterhood, go ahead and seek them out over the course of this afternoon and get acquainted if you don't already know them. So while we will announce the winner of the silent auction item, and we would like the winner to raise their hand, and one of the newest, one of our sisters up here is going to deliver the bid sheet to you.
Then, when the luncheon program is over, if you'll take the bid sheet, collect your winning item, and take it out to the registration table in the lobby, our treasurer, Kelly Lynch Lively, and Joyce Riskadal will be there to take cash, check, or credit card. So again, we're going to announce you won. You'll get the bid sheet. Hold on to it till after the luncheon, at which point you can collect your item and go out and pay for it. Clear as mud? Okay, we're going to start.
So for Coffee Time, which was donated by Judy Harrison, pledge class of 1965, the winner is Linda Grieve. I apologize.
Over there. So we're going to hand somebody that, and you can take it.
There you go. Does anybody remember Fred Gonk, Gone Gonk, Upside Down Gonk, or Eskimo Gonk from the 60s? No? I did not either. Here is the one, the only, the proud Chief Illinowick Gonk. And that winner is Kay Bonheur.
Close.
The pet basket, which was donated by Judy Harrison, goes to Melanie Alves. And the mom purse, which was donated by Judy Harrison, goes to Joyce Riskadal.
The 4-H bun warmer, Marilyn Luneman. And the chief tote, Karen Robinson. Did we see Karen? Karen, there she is. And the Illini game bag, Ann Games, Ann Finnegan, $150. Thank you, Ann. We should announce that at last night's auction, we raised $665. So thank you to all who bid and all who donated.
The orange and blue bag goes to Deb Patterson. The 4-H house apron.
Oh. No, you were right. Oh, no, you're not. Yeah, you were. Yep, I think.
We're building the suspense.
Sue Sanger.
Sue Songer. Singer! Congratulations!
That doesn't have a cover sheet. Okay.
And the Illini hat winner is Anne Hathaway.
The Illini fleece throw, Barb Campbell Dieterman. The stadium blanket, Olivia Wilson. Congratulations, Olivia. And the 4-H tote, I think it's Dot Hopkins.
The hand-painted Illini cooler donated by the pledge class of 2020. Maurice Merriman. The 4-H house metal crest that went for $225. Paula Goodell. And the king-size handmade quilt goes to Carolyn Kinsella.
And that was also $450. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Tea time. Elizabeth Dixon, $35. The campus landmark print, Holly Bauman. And the Illini backpack, shirt, and mug, Anita Payton Drinkall. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
And we'll let you return to your lunch, but the wind chime will be announced later.
As a member of the pledge class of 2018, the Alum Board played a huge role in our lives in the house. I remember our freshman year, it being so incredibly hot. I literally would just go to the walk-in fridge to cool down. And so as our lives as house girls went from freshman year to senior year, the house changed as well, whether it was the air conditioning or from the gnarly green carpet to the vinyl flooring, the gorgeous, gorgeous furniture in the living room. There were so many changes that the Alum Board played a huge role in. So I know our pledge class is so grateful for the Alum Board, as is everybody else that has gone through the house. So it is my honor to introduce Anne Hathaway, who is the 4-H House Alumna Association Board President.
Thank you, Katie, and thanks so much to all of you for being here today. I want to first off by thanking Pat Fuchs and the 85th Reunion Committee. Let's please all stand. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you. Thanks for putting this together. It's been a great weekend, and I know that we have some more fellowship and some fun to have. But I've been carrying around this 1945 Ilio, and people are looking at me like, why is she carrying this around? Well, as most of you know, I live in Indiana, and I was in northern Indiana recently and found this in an antique store for $2.50. And I was like, well, what's an Ilio doing in Indiana? And I opened it up, and I kind of was snooping through it, and I found 4-H House. And I looked down at the picture, and I found Anita Turner, who is the mother of one of my classmates. And then I started to read what it said about 4-H House. And let me just pull out some key highlights for you. Activity girls might be the name for 4-H House girls. Membership in the 4-H House isn't just an accident. Each girl must have a record of achievement and outstanding work, high school activities, scholastic rating, character, personality, and quality of leadership are necessary. Girls are pledged for 1 year, and if scholarship, character, and leadership standards are met, they are initiated at the end of the year. 4-H House has its share of social events, too. One of the highlights of the social calendar is the alumni banquet during homecoming for the 4-H House Alumni Association. So while over the course of 74 years and 85 years, a lot has changed, and we're all complaining about how the world is changing so quickly, aren't we lucky that the basic core principles of 4-H House haven't changed? I promised I wouldn't get emotional about this. I know for me personally, 4-H and 4-H House were critical to teaching me skills over the course of my life that have served me well in my professional career. When I came home from Washington, D.C. in 2009, One of my commitments to myself was to engage in my community and to get involved in things where I could give back to the things that made me who I was and helped me create the professional career that I've had. Interesting, without food demonstrations and public speaking contests, keeping the 4-H records and the accountability, I had all those skills in my toolkit when I entered the workforce. It put me in a great position, and so I wanted to give back. So I remember going to a homecoming and volunteering to be on a committee where we thought about the changes that 4-H House needed to make in order to continue to be a viable entity on campus. And I got involved, and then I got this call saying, would you like to be on the 4-H House Alum Board? Well, I'm sure there are a lot of us who believe that getting on boards, obviously we give our time, we give our treasure, we give our talent. Let me tell you, sometimes the 4-H House Board is a lot of all of those things. But it really meant something to me. And as I look back at the course of the last 6 years and what we've accomplished, there are so many in this woman who have served on the 4-H House Alum Board before and who currently serve and who make sure that 4-H House continues to stay true to the core principles with which the Pearls founded us. And so I'd like to name the current 4-H House Board and ask them to stand because we've been through a lot in the last 6 months, or last 6 years. So please hold your applause to the end. But current board, my fellow 10 compatriots are Holly Eichenberger Bauman. Sorry, I just butchered your name. Pam Nash Clodfelter. Kelly Lynch Lively, Michelle Eukin Mitchell, Raquel Lacey Nelson, Pat Lewis Nelson, Diane Meyer Notmeyer, Beth Patterson, Joyce Myhofer Riskadal, and Julie Hepner West. Please give them a round of applause. So with the help of many of you in this room, since 2013, we have invested a lot in our building and our infrastructure. Many of you will recall in 2013, we kicked off the kitchen project. Well, that was just the beginning of a lot of things that we found out needed to be done in not only at 805, but at 801. Some of the projects you get to see when you walk through the door and when you tour the house. Some of them you can't see because they are in the deep wells of the basement, in the furnace room that most of you don't want to know where it's at. But we've accomplished a lot, and I thought a lot about this. And I'm going to take the time this afternoon to read to you what's been accomplished at 4-H House since 2013. We get our newsletter, we get our annual report, and we read it, and we think about it. But I think when you hear what your investment in the house has accomplished, and when you get to the house this afternoon, you're going to really appreciate the home that we've built as we continue to attract women to campus. And I won't say that we've done it all on our own. The parent associations have been fabulous partners with us in getting this accomplished. So bear with me, but the entryway, the living, the dining room, and the alcove. In 2015, LED lighting was installed. In 2015, new ceilings were installed. In 2015, air conditioning was installed. In 2016, the dining room cabinet was refurbished and rebuilt, and the roller shades were added in the living room for privacy. In 2016, luxury vinyl tile was installed in the living and the dining room in the alcove area. And we voted on what we put in with the girls. It was a partnership with regard to making sure that we found a product that they liked and that we knew would be durable. In 2017, the new coordinating furnishings were added to the house, all kinds of new furniture. If some of you had been in there and seen what these girls were living with, you wouldn't have lived with it in your own house, and we didn't want them to do that either. In 2017, we added wood sidelights for the fishbowl door when it was refinished. and new side lights were added for the front door. We have a new green door and a new fishbowl door also installed in 2017. In 2018, the front stair wooden railings were refinished. And finally, in 2018, we changed the carpet on the front stairs with the help of the Parent Association. As I mentioned, in 2013 in the kitchen, the kitchen was reworked during winter break. That was a relay race trying to get it done and make sure that we had a kitchen for the girls to come back to. In 2015, air conditioning was installed in the kitchen. Through 2014 to 18, the house dinnerware, silverware was all refurbished. And in 2019, yes, just this past year, we had to buy a new reach-in, and the gas range was installed to replace the appliances not working. Things aren't made the way they used to be, and so we can't count on our equipment to continue to be working for 20, 30, and 40 years. For the second and third floors, the hallways, closets, the lounge, the secretary-treasurer office, the computer lab, and bathrooms, in 2014, those of you who remember the sun deck, no longer. That roof had to be replaced, and with the product that's currently available, we could no longer walk on that surface, and so we had to shut that door. Big bummer. 2015 air conditioning units were installed for the second and third floor rooms. The bathrooms were gutted and newly installed was ceramic tile, showers, walls, sink, toilets, and privacy stalls. In 2018 and 19, we had new hallway door closets added, and we have an ongoing project with regard to taking down all the fire doors, stripping them, and getting them repainted and rehung. In addition, with the help of the Parents Association on both the second and third floor, we have installed new hall carpet. That nasty carpet is gone. In the dorms, we finally have air conditioning installed, which has made a big difference. In the boiler room, in 2015, we had to do an electrical upgrade, which was to enable the air conditioning. In 2015, we hardwired smoke and carbon monoxide detection. And in 2015, we put in a new radiator heat boiler. But in January 2019, we had over 50 girls in the house last fall, and we didn't have enough hot water. It was a big problem. They couldn't take hot showers. So in January of 2019, we put in a new hot water storage tanks, and we have really hot water now. So we not only have clean girls, but we have clean dishes. In the basement entertainment center, some of you are going to remember a funky smell and a nasty floor. Well, we needed to make some changes. So in 2014, December of that year, an epoxy floor was installed in the basement area after the flooding. In 2015, we added air conditioning in the basement. In 2017, we figured out what the problem was with the water and the smell. A drainage system had to be, we nicknamed it the Big Dig. Drainage system repairs led to a new water main, and the humidity levels in the basement have dropped from 70 to 85% to 25 to 30%. It made all the difference in the world. We took the time and the money to figure out the problem and solve it. In 2019, an ongoing project, missing paddles have been made or pre-ordered, or old ones have been found, and so we now have a collection of paddles on the wall. We ordered new furniture. It's got an Illini theme in the basement, and also in 2018, we had a fire door installed. And then finally, in outdoors in the patio area. In 2014, a commercial retaining wall was added by the Parents Association. The city of Urbana in 2016 repaired the city's storm drain line that services 4-H House in 801, and now the city maintains that, which is awesome. In 2016, we had to have the house tuck pointed, which helped to reduce our drainage issues. In 2017, a front patio was installed to replace the sun deck we had to give up, and we had some landscaping done. In 2017, we had a sump pump drainage tied into the tile that runs into the storm drain, again helping to further alleviate our drainage, our smell, and our water problem. In 2017, the crushed drainage tile at the base of the foundation was dug out and replaced. In 2018, the east patio new ramp was put in, and we are now ADA compliant. And in 2018, the new east patio, if some of you saw it, was beginning to slide into the house. The new east patio was installed, and a new planter box and the basement stairs were all repaired. There's also comprehensive improvements at 801, including the new paint job, and also in our chapter room that I'm not going to share with you. But let's just say that we've been busy. And we've hopefully, and I hope that this list shows that we've invested your money wisely to make sure that the house continues to be a home away from home for women who choose to come to 4-H House in the University of Illinois. Thank you very much.
So thank you so much to all others who have played such a role in the success of this reunion. The sisters, families, and friends who have given their times and talents are listed on page 14. And our song leaders are recognized on page 15. So if you could please stand, song leaders, so we can recognize you.
There's one other person that we want to make special recognition, even though she threatened me with my life if I did. Pat. Charlene, if I could get you to help me. If you look in your program, you'll see that the chairperson of this weekend's event was Pat Fuchs. If we had the booklet here from the 80th, it would be Pat Fuchs. If it was the 75th, it would be Pat. Were you the chair or on the committee for the 50th?
Committee.
Committee for the 50th.
But the mugs are mine.
This woman, I mean, all of us have stories about the people at 4-H House, how they've changed our lives, a network of fabulous leaders that we work with. This woman is an inspiration to me, and I'm sure she is to all of you. The effort that she puts into doing these is beyond description. She has such a wonderful way about her of leadership. You never know when you've been led down the path and done exactly what she wanted done. She works magic. The committee, the anniversary committee, purchased you a gift, and it's the chime.
And I was bidding on it.
Yes.
Thank you.
You want to say anything?
This is going in my new butterfly garden. And thank you all for coming. It makes it all worthwhile to look at all of you out there.
I could go on and on about what this woman means to us, but in the interest of time, I will not. I will say that the silent auction was for real. Anne Hathaway got the winning bid on the chime of $200. So we will be making her a chime, and she will be giving that $200 also to the association. So thank you, Anne, for that.
The Sisters of 1956 played a huge role in providing all of us with our home away from home at 805 Ohio. But no one more than our next presenter, Cindy Eustace. She was co-chair of the fundraising committee and, along with Diane Mathry Schmidt, class of 1952, who is here today.
Where is she? Right there.
Took a year away from work to travel the state, raising the money to build 4-H House.
You may have noticed back on my right, the far wall, the black table, there are some copies of articles about the fundraising period to build 805 Ohio. These copies are courtesy of Elaine Seaman Wolf, class of 76. Her mother, Betty French Seaman, class of 1940, was very involved in the fundraising for 805 Ohio and kept a treasure trove of material documenting the efforts of all of these hardworking women. Elaine donated this history to the university archives. There are 9 boxes in the archives which contain 4-H house history. It's fascinating just to look at the index of what's in those boxes, everything from President's Post, dating back to 1937, to something called Interviewing Propaganda, and the history of the Women's League, 1898 to 1926. All of these things and more are in those archives. Among the few samples we have here today is a letter that Betty French wrote to her classmates, encouraging them to pledge what they could towards building a new house. She asked them each if they could find the way to donate $300. That's the equivalent of $800 today. And she was trying for 100% participation from her pledge class. She wrote them about the deteriorating conditions at the house on Green Street, saying that campus building regulations have become more rigid all the time. And I quote, "The jacks in the basement have been screwed up 3 times in 4 months. Dances can no longer be held at the house. And emphasis is hers, we must build." So you know where their priorities were. There's also samples back there of building committee reports from Carolyn Henricks and a newsletter from Cindy in which she signed herself, "Cindy, your prodder." The efforts these women went to is beyond imagination. The detail that she and Diane did in coordinating this and raising money, everything from 50 cents from candy sales to catering those meals that have become legendary. If you're here today and you were involved in the fundraising effort for 805, would you please stand so we can thank you? And I hope that those of you that just stood had a chance to look behind you and see literally the people behind you, myself included, whose lives you have changed. I wouldn't be here, I wouldn't have been at University of Illinois if it hadn't been for H House. You all have influenced all of these people and 4 times as many who aren't here today. And for that, you have my heartfelt and lifelong gratitude. Thank you so much. And now to give you her personal memories, Cindy Eustace.
When I started out to write this speech, I looked over the alumni list, and I think there are about 150 women that are 85 years or older that are still living. So I think we're pretty strong women, aren't we? There are 2 of my classmates here, Kay Jenner Bonner and Nancy Monroe Gossett. Unfortunately, the rest of them are either too ill or traveling or someplace. And one of the oldest ones is Lila Jean Eichelberger, who has been a godsend here too, financially and in the board and everything else. Lila, stand. I told Pat that when they had the 90th, and when I got up here, I think, to speak, I said, I'll be at the 90th, God willing. And then she turned around and called me, and she said, we're having one on the 85th. So thank heavens my daughter-in-law was able to bring me. In 1952, when 4-H House was 18 years old, 18 small-town farmers' daughters, outstanding 4-H girls, became pledges. Many interviewed, and I was selected an alternate. 2 weeks before the start of classes, I was notified of a vacancy. Of course, I accepted. Our class began building our legacy. We graduated in 1956. Now we too are 85 years old or about, and the same age as 4-H House. We had miracles, tragedies, educational milestones, and humorous times while building that legacy. It's amazing how as the years go by, we become more connected. My class has had 18 reunions at the ocean, lakes, farm homes, all across the country, and we last met at Bishop Hill, Illinois in 2014. You can read my full list of gyms and info about our class in the printed version of your story booklet that you have. But here's a few highlights that Marilyn Brown, Maureen, and I came up with. Carol Furch married Paul Arnold, a federal government employee with a very high security clearance. Carol owned a private counseling practice. Imagine our surprise when we read an article in the Washington Post, Young Republicans View a Nudist Film presented by Carol and Paul Arnold. Yes, they held high office in the nudist colony, and this is the same Carol who got mad at her house roommate for developing a photo of her in her underwear. And that colony still exists in Battle Creek, which is 20 miles from me, and I've never been there. Recently, Marilyn Miller Belfile and I were discussing my plans to come visit her this summer. There's just one problem, she said. I don't want you to see my wrinkles. I just laughed. And I told her just a couple of days ago, I had been at Myers and I purchased the latest, greatest magic wrinkle cream. And I've been using it ever since. We relayed this conversation to Helen Wilson Lawson, and she told us we better go find new mirrors. Marilyn Maureen Brown and her husband hosted the first class reunion and many others. Marilyn made a quilt commemorating our class, and it's back on the table, and it's sent to any one of our classmates when they need uplifting, and it's been all over the United States. That quilt is on the back on the table, but unfortunately I have to leave immediately following this, so if you didn't see it beforehand, but it is back there. And the last sister to have this was Audrey Nelson Shaw, who passed away last year, and the family sent that, Pat Nelson, who is here, sent that to me. And Marilyn is expecting it. We called her last night, and is very ill, and she's expecting me to get that to her the first of next week. The years have gone by much too quickly, and we mourn the loss of 6 of our sisters. All of us sisters stay involved and are informed in diversified fields of study and by participating at the university and family level. How proud I am that we sisters of 56 have made a difference in this world. We have faced challenge and we have persevered. In Ecclesiastes 4, Solomon encourages us to share our life's journeys with others. And I thank God daily for sisters who help me and others to make this life a better one, and that 4-H House brought me together. And I'll be here at the 90th. I may not be able to speak or may not remember what I said, but I'll be here, Pat.
Thank you so much, Cindy, for sharing that. It's so special to hear stories like that because each pledge class has their own special bond, and there are some members of my pledge class that I have not seen until today since we graduated, and we just picked up right where we left off. So pledge classes and all of us sisters in general, it's just such a special bond. We are going to ask that our song leaders please come up to the front, and we are going to be honoring the sisters that have passed away and that are not able to join us today. So if you would, please turn your attention to the PowerPoint and listen to our song leaders and as we remember those who have left us.
Actually, we'd like you all to join with the song leaders. They'll start us off, and the songs are on, page 2 of the booklet.
I see the moon and the moon sees me. The moon sees somebody I'd like to see. God bless the moon and God bless me. God bless somebody I'd like to see. I really think that the Lord above created you for me to love and picked you up from all the rest to be the one that I love best. If I get to heaven and you're not there, I'll write your name on the golden stair. I'll write it big so the angels can see just how much you mean to me. Tell me why the stars do shine. Tell me why the ivy twines. Tell me why the ocean's blue. And I will tell you just why I love you. Because God made the stars to shine. Because God made the ivy twine. Because God made the ocean blue. Because God made you, that's why I love you. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. We're not true beauties, we're nil on talent, nor are we angels in disguise. We are unsightly, we stay out nightly, but at least we're organized. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. If there were witchcraft, I'd make 2 wishes, a winding road that beckons me to roam. And then I'd wish for a blazing campfire to welcome me when I'm returning home. But in this real world there is no witchcraft, and golden wishes do not grow on trees. Our fondest daydreams must be the magic to bring us back these happy memories. Memories that linger, constant and true. Memories we'll cherish for each house of you. The New Year's Eve we did the town, the day we tore the goalpost down. We will have these moments to remember. The quiet walks, the noisy fun, the ballroom prize we almost won. We will have these moments to remember. Though summer turns to winter and the present disappears, the laughter we were glad to share will echo through
Thank you, Miguel. You can go to black. If there's anyone to get us back to laughing and smiling again, it's our next presenter. And if the rest of our presenters would make their way to the stage as well, this would be a good time. While they're coming, I'm going to introduce Deb Rayburn Lester. She is the face of 4-H House to me because she was my host, my minder, my keeper at that interviewing weekend way back in early '75. And I remember to this day what we did, where we went, where I was when Deb called to invite me to pledge. She changed my life with that call because I had told her I wasn't coming to the U of I if I didn't get to live at 4-H House. She also that weekend took me to my first X-rated movie. Do you remember that, Deb? Do you remember that? I was 17 years old, a babe in the woods, Southern Baptist, born, bred, and buttered. And Deb and some other girls that I don't remember who all went asked me if I wanted to go see Deep Throat. I thought it was about the White House whistleblower. This is true. I thought I was going to see a documentary. It was not, but it was certainly educational. Deb.
Now I get to speak. I don't really remember that. I come to you today as the morals chairman from 1976, fully instituted by the famous Bonnie Suter, my predecessor, and we did regular neck checks on Friday nights, made sure that the girls were all tucked in. And years later, when I would go back to the house and would meet some new girls in the house, are you listening back there? And I would be introduced as the morals chairman of 4-H House. And they would go, "Is that a real office?" And I'd say, of course it was a real office. Anyway, okay, so I want to relate to you. Of course, you can imagine the only thing better would be to have my partner in crime, Shar Tegeter Wildrick, here with me today as I relate to you part of our shenanigans back in the day. As you know, we were known as the cookie bakers. And many, how many chocolate chip cookies can one person make? So Shar Tegeter and I were making cookies, and everyone going through the kitchen wanted a taste of our cookie dough, or they wanted a cookie when it was done. And it was just like driving us crazy. We had, a half a dozen cookies left by the time we got done baking all this. So we got to thinking, and this happened to be late in March, and we're like, April Fool's is around the corner. So we went to the drugstore just a block away and got some X-Lax pills. Ground them up, and then put them in the chocolate chip dough. Now, we were very careful that no one was going to get an overdose. You had to eat like 6 or more cookies to get an overdose. And we had forgotten a little bit about even distribution in the batter, but we did try to mix those up. So on April 1st, girls coming through the kitchen would go, and Bonnie Suter was one of them, "Can I have some of your cookie dough, please, Deb?" And we're like, "Oh, okay, just one." And one by one, the girls would come through asking for cookie doughs or cookies, and we're like, "Okay, you guys go have some." We even decided to take some to our little brothers down at Beta Sigma Psi, took a plate to them. The guys next door at Brown House, we took a plate to them. And so we were found out. And the girls at the house were furious. So what they did, we started getting weird phone calls. And that was in the date for all you in the back. That was when the phone was connected to a little, yeah. So we got these weird phone calls and we're like, hey, Deb, a good time? What do you got in mind? And we're like, who is this? What are you calling? They said, you know, the sign. And we're like, the sign? Outside of our window that could be seen from Ohio Street and all that was a big, they had gotten cardboard. Yeah, I think it was like, they had a huge piece of cardboard. They hung our underwear all over that with some balloons, and for a good time called Deb and Shar. And so we didn't see that until the Brown House guys. And then they're like, what's that for? And then we said, oh, the cookies. And they're like, what? So then they threw us into the shower. I have a cast on my hand. Where's Maggie Weiss? Where's Maggie Weiss? Oh, so Maggie, her husband was our softball coach, and I had busted my hand. I did something stupid like catch a softball in right field with my right hand. So I had a cast, and I was like, you guys can't throw me in the shower. I've got a cast. They wrapped that in a towel and then hung that out the door and threw me in the shower anyway. So we came back, drowned rats, and then the Beta Sig guys started calling, and they were furious, and it was cold that March, and April, so we had our parkas on, you know, with the fur around it, so we put our parkas up, fur in, and we're going to classes for about 2 months incognito, because the Beta Sigs were gonna get us. And this full circuit, I hadn't thought about this for years and years until I was hired by Extension in 2007, and the county commissioner said, you know, Deb, we've got a wonderful admin, and she bakes cakes for us and all kinds of fun things. And I said, well, let me tell you about my cooking. And I told them about the chocolate chip story. So then I said, I could bring chocolate chip cookies. And they're like, no. I never had to bake a thing ever. So, but then Mom T would always say to me, you know, they never trusted my girls again with chocolate chip cookies. So it's such a pleasure to be here. Love you all. Wonderful memories, and hugs and kisses to everybody. Thank you.
Okay, to follow that, really? So thanks for indulging me earlier with the list of all that we've accomplished. I'm actually here to bring down the house again before we bring the house back up, to let you know there's still more to do. And I've had all kinds of folks give me all kinds of ideas on how to raise money today, and we're not going to necessarily do that, but I am going to share with you that we now have a strategic building committee that is actually putting together a list so that we can anticipate what we need to do before things get busted and we have to spend more money than we need to. And so let me just kind of walk you through some of the things that are coming up on our list. Right now, bunk beds. A lot of you probably, we are still using the bunk beds that y'all slept in. They're nasty. Now, with the Parents Association, we've been rotating box springs and mattresses, but for $650, a $650 contribution, you can replace a bunk bed and both mattresses and box springs. We need 29 new beds to take care of our girls. We'll have 53 girls this fall, and we want to make sure that they have new beds. If each of you just gave $85 for the 85 years, imagine how much money we could raise today. And then looking ahead, the big deal is going to be a window project. And our strategic building committee has really put together an outstanding plan. But in order to do the windows, not only in the main level, in the study rooms on the first, second, and third floor, it will cost us $130,000. You should know a lot of the windows don't lock, they don't close, that we can no longer, we've gotten really creative with regard to borrowing equipment from different windows on higher levels to bring them down to lower levels to ensure security for our girls. But at some point, it's going to catch up with us. And so while we continue to pay off the loan for the work we've already done with your generosity, we also need to plan for the future so that we're back here again, not only in 5 years, but in 85 years. And you're going to see in the future a plan called Windows for the Future. And that's going to launch our fundraising project to replace the windows at 4-H-House. Thank you.
Our next storyteller is one that literally carries her house memory to this day.
Okay. Now for something personal and a little different, I guess. It was early February in 1961, the start of my second semester freshman year. My dad had helped me move all my stuff from my dorm room at LAR to my new college home at the 4-H house at 202 East Green in Champaign. I was looking forward to living in a house with young women from similar backgrounds, girls who cooked and cleaned and took care of each other, and we were on a budget too. I liked the promise of campus activities and social opportunities, especially the social opportunities. My roommates, I recall, Harriet Gross, Susan Miller, and maybe Barb Strunk, I'm not sure, were very nice and helpful in getting me moved into my room. And then they reminded me that life at 4-H House would be somewhat different than at LAR. Well, I discovered the first part of somewhat different that very night. I was assigned to a top bunk in the sleeping dorm. It seemed okay when I made it up in the afternoon, but after dark, finding my way and climbing up to the top and settling in to go to sleep, I realized that I was cold, very cold. I can't go to sleep kind of cold. Was there no heat in there? Were the windows open? Were those pigeons that I heard from outside? Well, the next night, I was more prepared with a sweatshirt and a robe and double socks and maybe even a bath towel or two. But it was clear that I needed an extra blanket. That Saturday, I made my way to downtown Champaign. I'm not sure if it was with a helpful upperclassman or on the primitive MTD bus service, but I went to Sears, which at the time was a big department store in the heart of downtown. My only purchase was a very soft and cuddly and extra thick, light pink Harmony House Poly Blend blanket. Double bed size, $25. I remember that. What a difference that made. Okay, I still wore a sweatshirt and socks to bed in the winter, but I could sleep without freezing. Suddenly, life at 4-H House was wonderful. As you might expect me to say, I still have my Sears Harmony House light pink poly blend blanket. It's been through several moves, kids, pets, relatives, and more. Seems like it's been washed and dried 1,000 times. It's a little bit matted, not extra thick anymore, and it has had no satin binding for several decades. It's used in reserve now, sitting on the shelf in my linen closet, in case it's needed for another cold night, like the one so many years ago. Perhaps I will keep it with me always.
If you've been to the house in the last 20 years, we've all seen the beautiful oil painting of the alma mater that's hanging in the living room. It's the work of a Northern Illinois artist named Carl Johnson and was donated to the house by Bev and Pete Hazelhorst. And Pete is with us today, I believe, right back there. Today, Barb Palmer Eshelman is here to tell us about Mr. Johnson's latest artwork for the house, which was commissioned by the class of '71 and given to the house in honor of Beverly Cook Hazelhorst. Barb?
Good afternoon. It's my honor and pleasure to represent the 4-H House class of '71 in presenting a special gift in memory of our dear sister and classmate, Bev Cook Hazelhorst. As many of you know, Bev passed away in January after living bravely and beautifully with ovarian cancer for 9 years. Bev had an extraordinary enthusiasm for learning and life, the sharpest mind and the brightest smile of most anyone I've ever known. But above all, she had the biggest heart. Whether it was helping a 4-H house pledge, like me, make it through Chem 101 and Chem 102 when I had a very little science background for my high school years, or graciously hosting our 4-H house sisters and their families, even when we had tiny children who were very messy, in her home on numerous occasions. Those of us in the class of '71 knew Bev loved art, and of course we knew she loved 4-H house. So in consultation with her family, a painting of the house by one of her favorite regional artists seemed a most fitting memorial. When we approached the artist, Carl Johnson, in Galena, he remembered Bev and her husband, Pete, fondly, and immediately said he would be honored to do a painting in Beverly's memory. So today, the class of '71 proudly presents Carl Johnson's painting, as well as the reproduction rights he has granted us, to 4-H House in memory of Beverly, with the hope that it will remind us all of her sisterly love for years to come. So we will have this painting on display at the house later for any of you who are going there. And I would like the class of '71 to stand, and Pete and Beverly's daughter, Corinne, are here with us today as well. So.
Our final presenter, Colleen Trauber-Grossel, wrote the story that inspired the title for our 85th anniversary book. Colleen?
I don't. Okay, I know that you're all eager to get out of here. I appreciate that fact. But you can't leave town without having a little pop quiz, okay? And incidentally, if I lose on my place on my script, it's because of those bright lights. I'm not used to them. So let's start. Are you still a 4-H house girl? Are you always eager to sign up to try new things like perhaps yoga, Chinese cooking, or running a marathon? Do you get excited to meet new people like you did at 4-H house exchanges, around campus and in your classrooms? When you cook, do you level this up exactly, or do you just plop it in there? Do you like healthy competition like a pie baking contest, a sports game, or perhaps politics? And let's be honest, as you look around this room and you see your pledge class, Do you feel a twinge of jealousy because someone is thinner? Someone has more hair? Someone has a better job? Someone is famous? Or someone has more grandchildren than you? Or do you look past these insignificant differences because each one is a member of your old team? She is one of your sisters. In your everyday life, when you can't sleep at night, do you have flashbacks of staying up half the night studying for a big test? Are you a better cook and a better housekeeper because you had to do house duties while keeping up a good grade point average? Those jobs added to your ability to multitask. When the wind blows cold and the snow swirls, do you remember shuffling to class in Champaign-Urbana in tights and a skirt? Because at one time, no slacks were allowed for us. These tights were the only thing between you and sure frostbite. Now you can realize that that experience was good training for the tougher challenges of life. When you think of your mom or your dad, do you remember the sweet photos that were taken at the parents' weekends? We laughed together, we have cried together, we have supported each other. We have celebrated others' good fortunes as we hope for our own. We never lost sight of the important things like loyalty and empathy. We understood that one person's win does not diminish our own chance at happiness. We gathered at the snack bar in the kitchen at 2 a.m. for Dunkin' Donuts, better known as Krispy Kreme in the South, where I live now, and also for stale coffee, and we liked it. We trudged through ankle-deep snow to get to class, and we endured that. We left campus with high hopes and dreams, and if we were lucky, some of those dreams came true. Can you still get excited when you get the mail because you can remember the day that your acceptance letter came from 4-H House and it had a list of your pledge class members? This one's 50 years old from my house. Can you still be thankful because you know that although nothing is promised in this life, you got to experience something really special at 4-H House as you made lifelong friends? If you said yes to many of these questions, then you are still a 4-H House girl at heart, and may I suggest that you are all the better for it. Thank you.
As I sat around the table at 4-H House a couple years ago, chugging Diet Dr. Pepper, preparing for my chemistry final, I thought, I am never going to miss this. I am, when I graduate, I'm going to be so relieved and it's going to be phenomenal, and I'm not going to be one of those people that comes back and gets all emotional when they come back to Champaign-Urbana. And as I sat around that same table last night preparing for our dessert reception this afternoon, I was like, Katie, you said you weren't going to be one of those people, and here I am. You're sitting here, and you are awfully emotional for saying you were not going to be one of them. So I am so thankful for the opportunity that I had to go to the University of Illinois and become a member of this sisterhood, even though I said that I wouldn't be one of them. So thank you, all of you, for making me one of those emotional alums. So the members of the Pledge Class of 2018 have provided a dessert reception at the house, and we invite all of you to join us.
Hang tight just for a few minutes. We've got a few announcements, and then we will end with singing 4-H House Loyalty. On your way over to the dessert reception, we advise you to carpool. Otherwise, parking is available at McKinley. The house driveway is reserved for handicap parking only. But for those of you that don't want to look for parking, there is a 45-passenger bus at the Green Street entrance to the Union, and it says Star Limo. It's blue. It says Star on the side. They will be running a continuous shuttle between the Green Street entrance and 805 from now until 5 o'clock. So the last bus will leave the house to come back here at 5. There's also a 6-passenger black minivan with iHotel on the side for those of you that might require a little less hectic boarding experience, a little lower step. And anyone who's traveling with you is also welcome to use that smaller, more accessible van.
We cannot thank you enough for coming. It's absolutely amazing to see all of your faces, and there are some that I haven't seen since the last reunion when I was a freshman. So I am so excited to see all of you out here, and am so grateful that you took the time out of your summer to be here. For your continued support, and we thank you for the continued support of 4-H House. If appropriate, we thank you so much, and if you are interested in continuing your support, please think about the remarks that Ann said earlier.
Final reminder to the auction winners, collect your items and pay at the registration desk as you go out. Take your bidder sheet with you. And if you're going to the house, wear your name tag. Otherwise, please leave it at the registration table also. We believe in recycling, reusing, and we'll be doing that for the 90th. So leave your name tag out there. If you wear it to the house, then you can, there'll be someone there to collect it. Now, if our song leaders would stand, and the rest of you refer again to page 2 in your booklet for the words to 4-H House Loyalty. If you all would stand, we will adjourn with 4-H House Loyalty.
So sorry.
You did fine. I knew I should have crossed that out.
A song of 4-H House fellowship will give a cheer for her leadership. So onward, all 4-H House, we're behind you forever. Together we'll honor thy name. Through all the years that we are here or afar, we'll always keep and hold each little memoir. In all we do with hearts so true, all hail to 4